to be honest, university isn't set up for people like me. I have dyslexia, so like English and all that stuff, like I absolutely suck at it. But in university, they don't really help you with it. And they gave you tutors and everything, but it wasn't for me. So I came back home, work, relationship, finally got out of that. And at 22, I think a month after I got out of that relationship, I said, I want to become a wrestler.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
All right, Ambush. Today we are joined by a pro wrestler hailing from Penticton, British Columbia. He is Zaddy. With all of the baddies, he is a one-time Big West Wrestling television champion, a three-time Thrash Wrestling tag team champion, and the current, that's right, you heard it, Danny Needs, the current All-Star Wrestling Cruiserweight champion. He is trained by the almighty Lance Storm. He has been doing this game for about 5 years now, and we are here to dive behind the career of the Backstage Pass Braydon Goss. How's it going today, BSP?
It's great. Thanks for having me today.
Hey, thank you for taking the time to join me, my friend. I know you're a busy man. I mean, you like 12,000 kilometers last year, like 40 some matches. You getting the miles, you're getting the time in, my friend. So I thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've wanted to come on here for a while, so I thought this was like the best time to do it. So here we are.
I was thinking the exact same thing, and I feel the exact same way. I've been waiting for the perfect moment, and I know you got a lot going on in your life. But before we get into the current situations, before we get you a little riled up here potentially,
Yeah.
I want to dive behind the beginnings, the start to this career. And of course, it all has to start with a moment where a young Braydon Goss decides that he wants to pursue professional wrestling. So what exactly was that moment for you?
It's kind of funny because there's like a few moments. So I started pretty much watching wrestling when I was like 5, 6 years old. And like right there, I even told my parents I wanted to be a wrestler. Like right there, I was like all about it. I remember like elementary school dyeing my hair like green, blue, red, like Jeff Hardy and everything. Like I
Yeah.
just wanted to be a wrestler. And obviously like going through school and everything, there was periods where I really wanted to. And then, life kind of gets in the way and you're finding what to do, right? Cuz when you're in school, they don't tell you, "Oh, you can go be a wrestler." They tell you, "Oh, well, you should go to university, you should go get a trade." All these things. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but it's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a wrestler. And it took me some time. I think like I've done like hockey, I've done football, I've played soccer. And I kind of always went that path a little bit, but then I always went back to wrestling. Like I always wanted to go back to wrestling. And it wasn't until about 23. And that's when, or actually, no, 22, because I think I turned 23 right before I went to Storms, or about 6 months before Storms. But I essentially, I got out of a relationship, and I'm happy I did. And it was a good thing. It wasn't a good relationship. And I just, it got me to the point where I'm like, because I always wanted to be a wrestler, and that in that relationship, I was always kind of told to do something else, like do something else and then do wrestling. But when you try and become a wrestler when you're older, it's a lot more difficult. And props to Justin Sider for doing so. But it's a hard game to get into, right?
Bumps are not easy.
No, not easy. And I've tried to go to university and everything, right? And to be honest, university isn't set up for people like me. I have dyslexia, so like English and all that stuff, like I absolutely suck at it. But in university, they don't really help you with it. And they gave you tutors and everything, but it wasn't for me. Um, so I came back home, work, relationship, finally got out of that. And at 22, I think a month after I got out of that relationship, I said, I want to become a wrestler. Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to do it now, right?
Now or
And
never.
and so I went to my parents and I said, I want to become a wrestler. And they're like, well, obviously, when a 22-year-old son comes up to their parents and says, I want to become a professional wrestler, they're going to have, like, some questions. They always knew I wanted to do it, but you could see some, they weren't sure.
Every parent's gonna worry, right? They want security, they want comfort for their kid, and it's like, but the pension.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. But they knew I was really wanting to do it, so I signed up for Storms, and it cost a bit of money, but I committed myself because it wasn't. I got accepted, but I wasn't going for like a full year because the semesters were filled up. So I had a full year to save, a full year to train, just to get a bit in shape and all that, and just show that I'm committed. And I think that entire year, I might have had like maybe 4 drinks tops that entire year of alcohol.
Yeah.
I trained like every day. Um, didn't really see anyone either. I just focused on wrestling, or training to be a wrestler. And my parents saw that, and they were like, oh, okay, he's committed. Like he really wants this. So as soon as they started seeing that, I could tell that they were like, okay, he's committed, and we're gonna be behind him, and help him with his dreams. So yeah, I think I went to Storms January. I think the first day of class was like January 6th or something like that of 2018, around that date. And that was quite the eye opener.
So yeah, quite the New Year's resolution there. Moving from Summerland, Penticton, British Columbia to, I believe, Storms was in Calgary, correct?
Yeah, Calgary.
Yes.
It was quite the change.
You were there for what, 3-4 months? I'm guessing.
It was a 3-month program. Yeah, yeah.
So you said quite eye opening. So of course I have to dive in. What was that initial thought process like? Because after spending a year of training, you probably thought like, you know what, I think I'm pretty ready for this. And then once you get in, and it's how did it hit you?
I never thought I was ready. As soon as because I have like I get anxiety, right? And I overthink things. So like even beforehand, I'm like I have no idea what's gonna go on. Like I'm nervous. Like it's Lance Storm, who's been in ECW, WCW, WWE. He's been training great guys like Tyler Breeze. It's just I was nervous, right? I don't know what to expect. I've never been in a ring. I've never touched a ring. It was all new. And remember the first day, we didn't do anything the first day. It was kind of more like signing, like waivers and all that stuff, introducing ourselves, um, just meeting Lance for the first time. And yeah, no, it was quite a different, it was so different. It was so different from what I was doing beforehand. So it was just all new.
Hey, it's new experiences can be a beautiful thing. And of course, you took on a new challenge, and obviously you worked through it. So what were some of those, obviously Lance being one of the most acclaimed trainers there is inside of the world of professional wrestling. So what are some of the things that you would say you picked up from Lance, some of the most valuable assets?
Probably the most valuable assets is like, let's see, what was it? Just learning like the basics. Like, don't focus, like getting the basics down before you start moving on to other things, right? Like a lot of guys, they want to get in there and they'll do a bit of the basics, but right away they want to start doing crazy moves and everything. But then you look at the basics that they do, just like a simple headlock takedown, and it's a bit sloppy, right? So it's just getting the basics down, and like just being able to talk to them too. Like there'd be days where I'm one of those guys that when I drive, I'm always early. So sometimes it would be like 40 minutes early to class. And I remember the best part was one day Lance was like, "Oh, you guys shouldn't come so early because there's going to be days where I'm not here." And then that day after, he was there early all the time because I could tell like he liked talking to us, right? And I thought that was really, really cool. And one thing I noticed with me and Lance is during when we had training matches, he could really tell when I noticed something that was wrong or something could have been different or something that was sloppy. And we'd look at each other and be like, yeah, that wasn't very good, or oh, that was good. And that was like a big major thing he noticed about me is like I noticed things. And a lot of people, they don't notice things. And I could just tell that really, really impressed him. And yeah, no, that was really cool.
Awesome. Awesome. And of
Yeah.
course, one thing that I'll point out is I think you maybe have learned your drop kick from him, because one of the in the internet community, they say Lance has one of the best drop kicks out there, and I gotta say that Braydon Goss has got a pretty clean drop himself.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. My drop kick when I got out of Storms wasn't all that great. Like if you watch my first few matches, it was crap. But where I got it really good is I started doing squats. So when I think Tony Kazina came up around 2019 in September with my match with him, we just started like he started training us like they did at Fale Dojo and all that stuff.
I was a part of that
Yeah,
seminar, I
yeah,
believe.
yeah. And I just started doing squats like every day, like just getting that motion, and I just noticed a huge difference in my drop kicks. And then I started taking a few moves from Storm as well, just to set them up, like the jawbreaker drop kick. Totally took that from Lance because why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Storms was great. I wish I could go back. I mean, he doesn't have the school anymore, but just to like hang out and, do some more training there and stuff, that'd be sweet. It was always nice, like being able to like talk to Storm and like talk about like old stuff and, just little insights here and there. No, it was great. It was great talking to Storm. It was cold though. Don't recommend Calgary in the winter.
As someone who hails from the prairies, neither do I. And maybe, hopefully, one day you'll be able to pick Lance's brain in person again.
Oh yeah, no, I'd love to. One thing about Calgary, when I was going there, because I wasn't sure if I was gonna come back to the Okanagan. I had this whole thing where like I was like, okay, maybe I'll like stay in Calgary. If I have to, I'll become a male stripper. Yeah, I totally had this whole idea,
Whatever it takes.
whatever it takes. And then I get there and it's like minus 40. And the one thing about being in Calgary, I was sick probably like 75% of the time when I was there. Because whatever was going through the class, it was going around like multiple times. Because you had people from Australia, the UK, so you had people bringing in things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Flights and stuff. And I just I had a remote starter on my car, so get my car warmed. It's like minus 40 out. We have to drive to class. I have my big jacket on and I'm in the car with full blast heat. And I was just so cold still. And I was like, that day I was like, yeah, I'm not living here. Screw that. I'm not living in Calgary. It's way too cold. It's a great city, but no thanks. The Okanagan, like it's paradise. Like you have nice beaches, you got wineries, you got breweries, you got restaurants, you get like that California weather. The winter isn't too bad.
Beautiful drives, whatever direction you want to go.
Yeah, no, it's Okanagan is just it's too nice.
Well, I'm glad that the weather helped convince you to give Backstage Pass a different meaning. I didn't know that it almost had, a little bit of a different implication.
Yeah.
But now we are rocking and rolling with some pure soul. Like I said, you've been doing this for about 5 years now. So we mentioned that your drop kick is one of those things that has improved over time. So what are some other things that you would say through this career have improved?
I think I would say my promo skills because doing like promo training and stuff at Storms, like I was like a nervous wreck, right? Because it's like you're trying to cut a promo in front of a pro, right? And it's like, how do you? I don't know. There's just like a lot of stress, and like I was never a good talker.
Hmm.
Like I was like in my yearbook, I was voted quietest person in my grade 12. So going from quietest person to professional wrestling and talking and everything, it's totally different. Like I've had like speech impediments and dyslexia doesn't help.
Yeah, you mentioned
So
that
it's
earlier.
it's just like I'd say my promos have gotten a lot better. And like a big help with that was probably Vance, Nevada. Yeah.
Good microphone person for show. Vance
Yeah.
has definitely got a lot of skill, and once again, one of those brains that if you have the chance to pick it, go do it. Do it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, like people say what about Vance Nevada, but like you get in a car ride with him, like pick that brain. Like there's a reason why he's been around for like 30 years, right? Like he he's he's very good.
Hey, just released his second book. Going to be an upcoming returning guest to the podcast too. So anyone who's watching this interview, definitely stick around, hit that subscribe button because Vance Nevada will be coming through. And definitely, like you said, one of those challenges you mentioned earlier, not very fond of English, having dyslexia and otherwise. So yeah, definitely promos. It's having met you a few years in, I definitely wouldn't have known that had like you wouldn't say it yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's helped me. I think other things that have improved, just matches, right? Like I think the match I had on Saturday with Danny, um, as much I dislike Danny Deeds, um, that was like that was a really good match, and it's nice seeing yourself improve, right? Because when you're wrestling and stuff, you're like, am I getting better? Like where is my career going? Like you just it's difficult, right? You overthink things sometimes, and just having that match to start off 2023 was a really good feeling. And I think going back to my match with Tony Kazina, that was a match where I finally was like, okay, I can do this. Like I'm having a good match with one of the trainers at the Fale Dojo, the New Japan Dojo in New Zealand, right? Like, and him coming up and saying it was a good match, and he put the olive branch out to go to New Zealand eventually, right? So it's like it's just cool things like that, right? So yeah, shout out to Tony Gazina and the Fale Dojo in New Zealand, and yeah, no, that match really boosted my um just sense of being somewhat good. I don't know.
Hey man, it's if he's saying like you should come to New Zealand and train inside of what is a New Japan dojo, like that's quite a bit of
Yeah.
someone putting a little bit of a hype in your corner, I'd say.
Yeah. And it's just not trying to get your a big head and an ego and stuff, right? Like always stay humble and you know all that. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and I was really like thinking about going, right? And then COVID happened, and it's New Zealand was completely locked down, right? So you couldn't even go there. So until I think they opened up just in the summer or something like that. So now they're taking like intakes from around the world and stuff. So it's still in the back of my mind there. So you never know.
Hey, it's the future holds many possibilities. And of course, we've been talking quite a bit about the past here. And one name that you mentioned there is Danny Deeds. So now I think it's time that we get into the current, the present. And of course, that Saturday evening, a lot of the wrestling community here in the PNW in British Columbia got an answer to a question we've been wondering for about a month now, that's what happened to Braydon Goss's All-Star Wrestling Cruiserweight Championship. And that answer was staring us dead in the face as your opponent happened to be the one who stole it from an event you weren't even at.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole can of worms. Now, I was supposed to be at the show. Things got switched. It is what it is. But then All Star Wrestling allows Danny Deeds backstage. Of course, he's gonna try and take my title. He's been calling me out, and then all of a sudden the title goes missing. Like, there's definitely blame on All Star Wrestling for sure, and then yeah, there's blame on Danny Deeds. But there's some things in the work for February 4th in Vancouver with me and Danny. So Danny Deeds, I'm getting my title back.
He was trying to get your attention, and it definitely seems like he's got it now. He took the fast road to getting himself a championship match. I mean, I guess he's going around touting himself as the self-proclaimed champion, but I guess February 4th, you said, in Vancouver, was that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I believe no disqualification potentially as well.
I'm wanting a no DQ match. From what I've kind of been hearing through the grapevine, though, Danny's a bit scared, so we'll see. But there's all these things coming out. Well, why didn't you get your title back on Saturday night? Well, after all the brawl and everything, I try and go running backstage to see if Danny Deeds and get my title back. He's nowhere to be seen.
They got out of there pretty fast.
He drove off because he's a chicken shit. So.
Well, and it doesn't help that he's got a crew of Moment of Truth there with, your close personal ex-best friend, Jace Darcy, and of course, Jordy Taylor, someone else who you have had quite a bit of history with recently as well.
Yeah, yeah. For the past year, quite a bit.
And of course, I believe you also have a little bit of a chance to exact a little bit of revenge here against Jordy Taylor for not just this weekend for helping to make sure that you didn't get your championship back, but for all of this past year, the brawls, the constant getting attacked during your matches with him, with other people. Finally, you guys got to settle this inside of a steel cage in Penticton.
That's right. This Saturday, January 14th, at the Penticton Trade and Convention Center, me and Jordy Taylor for Thrash Wrestling Championship Gold, locked inside a steel cage. And I can't wait. Like, it's my hometown. I'm not afraid though, like I've lost in my hometown. Just not afraid, you know. Jordy Taylor, on the other hand, he's not going to have his little minions around him, right? Because
Mm.
he's locked inside. They can't get in. So, no, I can't wait. And tickets are selling really well. So, I mean, if you hear this and you want to go, get your tickets quicker because, yeah, they're selling very well. So, one board shop, you can buy tickets online. So, yeah, definitely get your tickets sooner than later. But yeah, Jordy Taylor, if you're hearing this, I'm taking that belt.
Ooh, Jordy Taylor this Saturday, January the 14th at the Penticton Trade and Convention Center for what promises, for what looks to be, what might be Thrash Wrestling's biggest show ever. The hometown boy might not just get a one champion in the next couple months, he might get his championship back. The 2023 season looks like it's got quite a bit of momentum, quite a bit of potential here from Mr. Braydon Goss.
Yeah, definitely. I'm planning on getting my title back too in the fourth. So, if not sooner, because I think Danny Deeds is going to be at that Penticton show. So, you better watch out, boy.
Hey, I think he's facing one Justin Sider for his own gender neutral championship here for Thrash Wrestling. So he's got his own hands full. I think that the Moment of Truth might have their hands full this evening. I believe their other member might be trapped inside of a steel cage as well. So there's going to be quite a bit of hard hitting action coming your way from not just Thrash, not just All Star, but of course, the Backstage Pass himself.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's so cool what we're doing in Penticton because for the past like year, I think we did like about 4 shows in Penticton last year, or maybe 5. Can't quite remember. Um, but it would be where it used to be where we'd put the show on and it would sell out at the door, right? And then it finally kind of got to the point where we're selling out the day before the event. But then the last event we did at the Luso Hall, we sold out like 2 weeks in advance. So it's like it's just getting bigger and better. And then you have people like messaging the promoter and wanting tickets, and like obviously we just can't because we're sold out, right? But now we're finally in a bigger building, and it's super cool, and especially doing it in like a hometown, right? Like it's just thrash wrestling is special, and to me, thrash wrestling is the best promotion in BC, and if not, the Pacific Northwest. And that might rub some people the wrong way. That's just my opinion. And to me, it's just Nick. He always brings in guys from Alberta. He brings guys from the coast. He always brings in something new. He'll try to bring in a name guy. There's always storytelling. And put we always put hard work into every show. And then you have the commentator like Smokey. He's awesome.
He's gotten so good.
The live commentating, it's totally different. And from what I've heard from fans, thrash wrestling is like the ECW of BC. It came from this backyard wrestling, and it wasn't very well liked by people, and it's now turned into this great promotion, right? Like you have the veterans still of the promotion, like Michael Moore. You have Nick there. You have Vance Nevada coming in. And then you have all these young guys. You have Jace Darcy. You have Hayden. You have me. You have Sean Gaston, even though I don't like that guy either. But you have all these young guys coming in. And then you have you reffing, right? Colton G reffing. And I've seen your reffing skills they're great. Like whenever I see you on the card as a ref, I want you as my ref because I know you're going to do a good job. yeah, you listen everything, right? It's just great. And just I find thrash is just it's just special. And that's not just because I started it with thrash. It's I want it to grow. And I want to move farther away. Like I want to go to WWE. I want to go to New Japan. I want to go to AEW. I want to go to big promotions, but I also want thrash wrestling to be to be bigger. I want it to be the big promotion of BC. And I mean we got Kelowna, we got Penticton, we did Nelson in the summer, and it was amazing. So it's and you could just see the houses are always getting more and more for attendance. Fans are always coming back and say that was the best, right? And it's just a great promotion.
Well, man, I honestly got to say, I truly appreciate all of those kind words. And honestly been a complete honor to be able to grow alongside you and all of those other names that you mentioned, from a Hayden to a Jace to a Sean to a Charlie Joseph to a Justin Sider. I feel like the Okanagan just has like this current wave of talent that I feel is just really pushing things. And then, like you say, like thrash, like really seems to be like in this wellspring where they're finally like growing these shows and we're growing these crowds, getting to new cities, bigger crowds, and it's like the little engine that could, where like you say, it came from the backyard and like so many people tried to deny it, but it was just the spirit and the love of wrestling just
Yeah.
kept it alive and pushed it to this next level.
Yeah. I mean it's grunge, right? Like it's you have your big promotions and that's the pop stars and everything and all that, but thrash is like the grunge, and it's great. And I mean, like all the other promotions like new ASW, VIPW, 365, you have Glam Slam, WrestleCore. They're all great promotions, right? Like no knock to them. They are awesome. And I mean, you just had Sebastian Wolf, Judas, Travis Williams. They were on AEW Dark. Like
Yeah.
that's freaking awesome. So if you hear that, go check it out. They're on YouTube, AEW Dark. Go check them out. They're BC guys, and it's finally great that they're getting the exposure they deserve. So check them out.
Hey, the PNW is, I think it's ready to explode, and you see a lot of really, really talented. Like we say, the Okanagan's got a wave of people, but I feel like everywhere, the
Yeah,
Okanagan, Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, like the amount of talent that is just ready to explode out of this region is freaking miraculous.
yeah. No, it's really good, and just just everyone keep working hard, keep working for better, keep getting along. I know it's hard to get along sometimes, but you know, if we can all get along, it's just going to be better for wrestling. It's going to be better for the fans. It's just going to be better overall.
I have a friend inside. I believe we both have a friend inside of this industry that likes to say, "Bigger pie equals more pie for everybody."
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I love to hear it. And of course, we've been talking so much about this wrestling journey, and earlier I happened to point out that the Backstage Pass has the soul of rock and roll, so I need to dive a little bit behind the music that drives the Zaddy with all of the baddies. So, what are some of your favorite bands? What do you like to listen to before you work a show?
Well, obviously my favorite band is Metallica. Um, Always loved them. Their music got me through some tough times. Metallica, you got apparently on my Spotify, I listen to a lot of Corn too. So I guess we'll have to put Corn, which is funny. Slipknot. I mean, what else? Like Ozzy, Motorhead, Megadeth. Thrash metal. But I do like a little rap, old school rap, Eminem, Ice Cube, Tupac. Do like my Post Malone too. Can't go wrong with Post. And
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good with anything, right? Like I like Def Leppard, um, AC/DC. I'm pretty good with everything. So,
He's
but yeah,
eclectic.
Metallica is definitely my top fave.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So, of course, I also need to know what's the favorite concert you've ever seen?
So as much as I love Metallica, unfortunately, I never got to go. Yeah, I almost went, but because I was saving up for Storms, I didn't go. It was when they were doing their stadium tour, so back in like 2017. Didn't get to go, but probably my favorite concert was seeing Black Sabbath with Ozzy, so that was cool. Yeah, getting to
Uh,
see the Prince of Darkness was pretty awesome. So I've been to a few other ones, like I've seen Motley Crue. Um, I've seen Five Finger Death Punch, Papa Roach, those guys. Alice Cooper was awesome. Alice Cooper, that if you can go see Alice Cooper, he puts on a show.
Heck yeah.
I fist bumped Nikki Six, so from it wasn't when he was playing with Motley Crue, it was with his 6 a.m. band, but
Still an awesome
yeah,
band.
fist bumped him. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Heck
no, that
yeah.
was that was awesome. Trying to think if I went to more concerts, but yeah, no. Yeah, I think that was it. Maybe there was more, but I can't remember.
Hey, the Penticton is becoming its own little hub for concerts. I know you got Anthrax and Black Label coming through
Yeah.
soon. I'm sure you'll be able to add a few bands to that list right away.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah, heck yeah. Does Braydon Goss play any instruments? And if not, what instrument would Braydon Goss play?
I don't play any instruments. I've taken piano lessons, but that was like when I was a kid. But I think if I could play an instrument like really good, well, probably the guitar, or if I could go back, I'd probably play the piano because I think you could do some cool things with that. So yeah,
Mhm. Hey,
yeah,
and they say piano transfers well to other instruments.
yeah,
It's definitely, you could start there and then progress to something else, right?
yeah. See, my issue was I did all these things and I just wanted to become a wrestler, so I didn't care, right? I just wanted to become a wrestler.
Hey, maybe one day you'll be playing your own Mania entrance on a piano.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty epic, I must say.
Yeah.
So, what is something that Braydon Goss is grateful for inside of this world?
Um, Probably my family and friends, supporting me, helping me through wrestling, just, life, right? Like, I've had down moments. I've had moments where I'm like, life sucks, right? But it's trying to get over that, right? And it's just, you know, getting the help that you need. And if you need help, go see a counselor, right? Like they're there for a reason, right? Mental health is a big thing, right? So just getting through the hard times. And once you get through the hard times, it just makes you stronger. But yeah, family, friends, it's all means a lot to me. So I'm grateful for that.
Having a good support network, having people that can get you through, and that you can see that there are brighter days ahead.
Yes, there's always brighter days. It's I always found it's a day at a time, right? Take each day at a time. And once you get over that day, it's like, okay, well, I can do the next day, and then you can do the next day, and it gets easier, right? So
Awesome. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. And of course, earlier we've spoke about how you've grown as a wrestler. And one of the things that you mentioned is a way that maybe wrestling has also grown in other aspects of your life with your public speaking, with being able to maybe have a little bit of confidence. What are some other ways that your time in pro wrestling has helped you in other aspects of your life?
definitely confidence, um, being able to talk to people, a little bit more public speaking, which is funny because I still get nervous at like if I'm in the ring, it's not that bad, but if it was outside the ring, I still get kind of like the nerves, public speaking, but which is funny, but But yeah, no, it's helped me a lot. Just getting out of my shell, because I was the quiet kid in school, right? Getting out of my shell, and now I'm kind of an asshole. So when I talk sometimes, so yeah.
Hey, I'm sure anyone from your high school comes and watches a match like, that guy? What?
Yeah, totally different. Funny, I get messages like, "Oh wow, it's changed, right?"
Hey, change can be good, and I'm glad that you came out of your shell, that you got that soul of rock and roll, my friend. If anybody wants to keep along with the journey, keep up with the Backstage Pass, where are the best places to go ahead and do that?
So on Instagram, I'm at the real Braydon Goss, and I think that's actually my Twitter handle. My Facebook page, you can just look up Backstage Pass Braydon Goss. I'm on there. Usually there's matches that get uploaded to YouTube. You can just search up my name. It's kind of weird when you search up your name now on Google, and it's like you get all these links, and it's like, oh wow, I'm all over the internet now.
Definitely a lot different from probably when you would do it in high school, right? Like, oh wow, I wonder. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
so different.
yeah, exactly.
News articles and all of these other things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
hey. Well, keep on pushing, keep on growing, and keep on adding to that Google search, my friend. I'm excited to see where the future takes you, including inside of a steel cage this
Yeah,
Saturday. And whether or not I'm reffing that match, I am excited to see what goes down.
yeah. January 14th, everybody. Penticton Trade and Convention Center. Tickets are at the One Board Shop online. Um, yeah, the tickets are selling really well, so you better get them quick because yeah, it's gonna be a packed house. So I'm excited. Hometown. I'm planning on taking that title, Jordy Taylor. So bring your A game, but I'm not afraid. Not afraid of you. Yeah, and it's a great card. You got Massive Damage coming from Alberta is coming. You got Bulletproof, Vance Nevada, Sean Gaston. You got the Strays, Judas. You got Elliot Tyler. You got a lot of people coming. Rhea Von Slasher from the Coast is coming. Yeah, no, it's a stack card.
A lot of hard hitting action. And thank you for going through and pushing some of that. Because, like you mentioned earlier, Judas Icarus just featured on AEW Dark. And then you have lots of other stars from, Elliot Tyler wrestling for 365 for NEW. You have some people coming in from Alberta. Like you mentioned, Rhea Von Slasher. Always a handful there. So it promises to be an epic evening. Go ahead, get your tickets. Like we said, what promises to be the biggest night in thrash wrestling history so far. All right, Braydon, thank you so very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.